China Black performing their brand new single and a spectacular laser display.
Looks cold out there. We're also going to be looking at scary games based on Doom, including this one for the 3DO M2. So new, it hasn't got a name.
Our main review is Tekken on the PlayStation.
And I'll be at Pinewood Studios rubbing shoulders with a host of famous actors on the set of a brand new interactive sci-fi movie.
But first, this month's edition of GamePro magazine has a very special cover mount. It's a lollipop with a real worm embedded in it to advertise Earthworm Jim 2. Would you like to have one? No? Anyone else?
No, thanks.
No. So we thought, who better to demonstrate worm eating than the publisher of the magazine, Denise Wright. After all, she obviously expects everyone else to eat one. So,
Thank you very much.
And we'll check on your progress throughout the show.
Thank
We
you.
should have at this point, this is a
Deep
special
breaths.
edible worm. So don't go eating any worms you find in your garden. And speaking of worms, here's Andy.
Oh yeah, very funny, Sonia. Back outside, we're still preparing for China Black's performance later, but before they do that, I want to show you some of the things these lasers can do. But it can be a bit dangerous, boys, so you might want to clear. Okay, take it away. Amazingly, all these effects are produced by just one laser, although it's a fairly powerful one. It puts out about 4 watts of power, which doesn't sound very much compared to, say, a 60-watt light bulb. But lasers give out a special type of light. It's actually called coherent. Impressive. Now, the actual laser unit itself is up here, and just to show you how powerful it is, watch this. This is a bit of magazine that I found lying around in the office. Now you can see why the guys and I didn't stand on the stage. But lasers are used in displays, lasers are used in clubs all the time in complete safety. So how do they do it? Well, the answer is they do it with mirrors, or more specifically, movable mirrors. Up there by the laser unit are more than 50 tiny little movable mirrors, and their movements are controlled by this panel over here. Now, the secret to using a laser safely is to keep it moving. Don't leave it in the same place for too long. I'll try and show you what I mean. There is the laser beam projected against our studio building here at Yorkshire Television. This is when it's dangerous, when it doesn't move. So, if I move some of the mirrors, then I can change the direction the beam is reflected in, and the beam appears to move. If I move the mirrors faster, the beam moves faster. And then, if I get the mirrors moving very quickly indeed, you get what appears to be a permanent circle. Now, from a safety point of view, this is good because the beam is never left in one place long enough to do any damage. And from a fun point of view, it's great too, because now you can program it to do anything you like. Never mind one circle, what about 8 circles? And then, let's make it a bit more spectacular. Let's add tons of smoke and bounce the beam off loads more mirrors, like that one that we've got over there and the ones that are all over our car park here. And you can do things like this. The next stage, of course, is to replace me with a computer program to do all these sequences, and then it gets really impressive. But that comes later.
You still got the lollipop? How are you doing?
Not too bad.
Like it?
No, not at all.
Keep going, Denise.
Thank you.
This week's main review is Tekken on the PlayStation. It's a 3D one-on-one beat-em-up. You can choose from 8 characters. There's a couple of feisty-looking females, a few fearsome fellas, and a fistful of freaks. Each character has to defeat their own individual boss before the final showdown with the evil Heihachi. And each of these bosses become playable characters once defeated. These 2 are called Kuma and Lee. Battle on. Here's Sahel.
I don't usually like beat-em-ups, but without a shadow of a doubt, this is the best game I've played all year. Here I'm playing as Law, and I'm fighting against Nina in the stadium, which is one of the many different backgrounds. The move I've just pulled off is one of Law's better ones. As you can see, Nina has some pretty strong kicks, and on the whole, Law is quite agile himself. One of the better things about the game is the fact that the camera moves around and zooms in and out depending on how far the characters are apart. Unlike other fighting games, the area you fight in this game is absolutely massive, which makes it a lot fairer as you can't back somebody into a corner and beat them up. Also, a feature unique to this game is that each button on the controller corresponds to a certain limb. Here I'm going to try and pull off a special move with Yoshimitsu. And there it is. This is definitely the best fighting game I've ever played. The moves are a lot more fluid than, say, Virtua Fighter. It'll certainly take some beating.
The controls are responsive, the characters' movements are fast and smooth, and I like the 3-dimensional quality.
Once I learned some special moves, it became really addictive.
And the scores for Tekken. A hard-hitting 5 from the boys and a rolling with the punches 4 from the girls.
What have aliens, Batman, and Interview with a Vampire got in common? Well, they were all shot here at the world-famous Pinewood Studios. The reason filmmakers come from all over the world to Pinewood is because it's got 52 acres of backlot to shoot in. It's also got the largest soundstage in the world and Europe's biggest exterior water tank. It's been used in films like The Man with the Golden Gun, First Night, and it's about to star in the sequel to A Fish Called Wanda, Fierce Creatures. Even Take That used it for the video for their #1 hit, Back for Good. But I'm not here to seek out Take That. There's something much more exciting going on in Studio K.
Stand by, everybody. This is a rehearsal without the explosion.
The studio was taken over for 6 weeks, not by a film company, but by computer games giant Electronic Arts. Now you might be thinking, what is a games company doing at Pinewood? Well, they're filming Europe's first interactive movie, The Darkening. It's got a budget of $5 million, and a large amount of that has been spent on the impressive star lineup. The cast includes Oscar-winning Christopher Walken, John Hurt, Brian Blessed, and star of the show is the British actor Clive Owen, who plays the hero of the game, Lev Aris. The story begins with Lev Aris waking up in a futuristic hospital after 10 years in cryogenic storage. He has no idea who he is or how he got there, but the search for his identity throws him into a world of corruption and violence. Today's the last day of filming and Clive's about to shoot a scene.
Red light's opposite. Here we go. And action.
In this scene, Clive Owen's character has been sent to a hotel room to meet someone who may know his identity. When he gets there, he finds his contact has been killed.
Sorry, there's a bag outside my face. Can we get something on it? Hello now.
Well, so far it sounds and looks like a straightforward day in studio.
Bit of smoke, green ball. And action.
So, what's the difference between shooting a film and making an interactive movie?
The difference is at the end of each scene you shoot alternative choices depending how good the guy is who's playing the game. There's alternatives, and but apart from that, it's pretty much like shooting a movie.
So what kind of alternatives would there be?
Well, most scenes end with some sort of deal struck, and at the very end you'll shoot 2 alternatives, one being, okay, we've got a deal, or no, there's no deal, depending how many credits the player's got and, you know, if they're any good or not, I suppose.
If you're good enough to get to this point in the game, this is what that scene will look like in the finished version, with all the special effects added. But before I left Pinewood, I had to ask Clive about his medallion.
This it might look a bit pathetic, but in actual fact it's an Ace sci-fi computer. This is used for when all the credits that the players get. So I take this off, have a look at it, and then the computer gets full of all the information of all the credits and how they're doing with the game.
You won't be able to get hold of The Darkening this year, but it should be out on PC CD-ROM in early 1996.
However, by the end of today's programme, Denise from Game Pro magazine said she would eat a lolly with a worm in it. Are you there yet?
I'm at the worm.
Watch this space. Now, though, it's time for this week's news and previews.
Here's something to keep beat-em-up fans drooling. Arcade smash hit X-Men Children of the Atom is coming to the Super Consoles, and Bad Influence has his first exclusive shots. All your favourite super mutants are here doing battle in truly Titanic style and proving that there is life in the 2D beat-em-up yet. X-Men will be out in January on Saturn with PlayStation and Ultra 64 to follow.
The beat-em-up is one type of game that's not really suited to a joypad. What you really need are one of these arcade-style joysticks, available for both PlayStation and Saturn. They bring you one step closer to that arcade experience in your bedroom. All you've got to do now is charge your mates 50p a go.
Currently nearing completion is a follow-up to the Amiga classic Syndicate. Syndicate Wars promises more ultra-violent action as you use your teams of cyborgs to capture territories held by rival criminal corporations, gunning down all enemy agents and civilians that get in your way. The game features the obligatory 3D polygon graphics as well as some impressive lighting effects. It's due for release in March next year on PlayStation and PC CD-ROM.
Now for some more of this week's games releases, reviewed by our expert panel. Take a rib-tickling film, add a few platforms, and what do you get? The Mask on the SNES. Armed with an arsenal of weapons, our rubber-bodied hero has to save his distressed girlfriend from the clutches of the dastardly Dorian. Here's Angela.
There's nothing new to make this stand out from any other platformer. It's a very basic game with a few cute animations. The plot of the game is exactly the same as the film, but there's nothing particularly original in the gameplay. It's a very standard platform game. The standard method of attack is close-range punch wearing boxing gloves. Other weapons include a mallet, a mass of semi-automatic guns and a tornado power, although you have to collect a certain amount of morph energy to use them. The animation on the main sprite is humorous, but the level design is a bit dull. The levels are very long, which is frustrating because they're not very interesting. This won't keep you playing very long. Gameplay-wise, there's little to keep you interested.
It's just another platformer based on a film character, and the music is as tedious as the gameplay.
The gameplay doesn't exactly stretch the imagination, but it does have some nice touches.
And the scores for The Mask, not very good, I'm afraid. 2s from both the boys and the girls. Nice film, shame about the game.
Just out for the 3DO is Blade Force, a 3D shoot-'em-up set in a crime-ridden futuristic city. Taken to the skies in a heavily armed helipack flight suit, you have to capture 6 all-powerful underworld bosses. There's the usual assortment of power-ups and weapons to collect and a bundle of bad guys to blow away. Here's Ben.
At first I thought Blade Force was another boring 3D shoot-'em-up, but it really gets your heart beating. I found it one of the most addictive games since Tetris. This is the training level. You have to complete this before you can go on to the main missions, which is a good idea because it helps you practice shooting and recognise different power-ups. It also helps you to control your character so that you can judge the different heights, because that's the difficult part. This is level 3. It looks much the same as the other levels, but it's a lot harder. There are loads of power-ups to collect, such as fuel, energy and weapons. You need to collect these because it makes the boss at the end of the level a lot weaker. This is one of the only games that reveals the 3DO's true potential. It's difficult and addictive and a must-buy.
It's a fascinating game, but it's very hard to control. You have to judge both heights and distances, and it makes a training mission essential.
I found this quite frustrating as there's no clear indication of what to do. It's the type of game you need to spend a lot of time with.
And the scores, hovering around 4 from both the boys and the girls.
Bad Influence Worm update. She's bitten the head off, haven't you?
I have bitten the head off.
Like it or loathe it, Doom is big. But it's getting on a bit now, and everybody's waiting for the next game from the Doom creators. It's called Quake, and it's so secret all you can see of it are these pictures loaded down from the internet. But the programmers promise it'll be out next year.
But if you can't wait that long, there are scores of games jumping on the Doom Gore wagon like this one. This is Killing Time on the 3DO, being put through its paces by Simon from China Black. Unlike most Blast-O-Matic Doom-style games, players have to ask questions before deciding whether or not to do in the people they meet.
It appears handsomely for the odds.
So how are you getting on?
It's got great sound effects, it's really spooky, but it's a bit slow, but there's some great characters you can blast. Not bad.
There'll be more Doom fun for 3DO owners next year with this game. You'll be able to play it with the new M2 add-on cartridge. Players can explore underground tunnels and blast monster aliens. That's if your eyes aren't sent into meltdown by the fabulous graphics. This game's so new, it doesn't even have a name yet.
The more Doom style is copied, the more features are added to the games. This one, Mortal Core, allows you to add your own voice samples to the characters. As we've done, haven't we, Andy?
Yes, we have.
Try and demonstrate, please.
Never fear, fresh-faced Sonia. It's Andy to the rescue.
How about this one? Try this one, try this one.
Yo, Andy, eat my shorts.
That's
and
great.
And this one.
Go out and buy China Black's new record now.
Yeah.
So what do you think of this new addition then to the game?
I like it because I might use this for my next recording session.
Oh, really?
And what I like as well is that you've got 4 characters and I can send them off and they can go and kill whoever they want to kill while I'm just killing everybody that's around me. But I try not to hit my own men,
Right.
which I tend to do.
So you can play this game for a good long while then?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the lookalike that's being tipped to topple Doom from its pedestal is this one, Duke Nukem 3D on the PC. The game's loaded with some fantastic new weapons and features. You can place booby traps on the walls for enemies to trip over and rocket launchers to take out entire corridors. The most fun, though, is the Shrinker Expander gun. Just aim at an enemy, pull the trigger and reduce them to Action Man size. If you're feeling particularly mean, you can stamp on them for afters. Are you a mean man, Simon?
I'm not violent, honest, but I love the way you can destroy everything in sight, and also you can get into vehicles and stuff and drive around.
So, is this your favourite so far?
Definitely. Excellent.
Now, Doom's all very well, but if you find yourself having a certain sympathy for the cyber demons, you're maybe playing for the wrong side. Here's Virtual Violet.
The
computer games are usually the same. Whether it's a cheeky monkey, a cutesy bug, or a skateboarding lizard, you're generally the good guy. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm sick of saving the world. I want to be evil. I mean, who'd want to be Mario when his arch enemy, the evil Wario, has twice the charisma? Not to mention a nice line in Headbutts. More recently, I found another outlet for my diabolical impulses, the excellent Command & Conquer on PC CD-ROM. You choose to be either the goodies or the baddies, but who takes orders from that pompous twit at the GDI, where they can join the sinister and far more stylish Brotherhood of Nod? Commanding the baddies makes for a completely separate game. Different missions, weapons, buildings, and of course, there's that warm glow that you only get when you're confident that wrong is on your side. So, the bad guys are fighting back, but this is only the beginning. Next month sees the release of an even more insanely evil PC game, Dungeon Keeper. You know those adventures where a brave warrior fights his way through a dark dungeon, killing monsters? Well, here the boot is on the other foot. It's your dungeon, and you've got to make sure the hero dies a miserable death. At your command are various bands of fiendish creatures, ready to stand guard wherever you want. Or you can climb into the body of any individual monster and see the hero off personally. Well, if you want the job done properly. So, it's no more Miss Nice Girl for me. Out of my way, suckers!
Virtual Violet having fun being bad, and she looks so sweet. Now we're just about ready for our laser show, and China Black are going to star in it. What are you going to perform?
We're going to perform a song called Don't Throw It All Away.
Is that the new single?
That's right, yep.
All right, and when's it out?
November the 13th.
Right, well, get on with it, guys.
This week's competition prize is a PlayStation with Tekken, and the question is, what kind of light does a laser give out? Is it A, photonic, B, infrared, or C, coherent? Phone in your answer on 0891 800 300. That's 0891 800 300. The call will cost no more than 25p. The lines will stay up until midnight on Sunday, but do please get permission from whoever pays the phone bill before you dial.
Last week's competition prize was the SNES with Killer Instinct, and we asked, why can't you hear spaceships explode in space? The answer, as over 18,000 of you knew, was because there's no air in space to transmit the sound waves. The lucky winner is Neil Ratcliffe from Walsall, and 10 runners-up get 10 Bad Influence Bad Crew t-shirts. And their names are running across the screen right now.
So well done to you. That's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed the programme. Thanks for watching. Bye!